Monday Night Wars podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Monday Night Wars. This is the last one we're going to do in a set. Delirious. It's August 18th, 1997, and we are live with WCW Monday Night Nitro at the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Joseph, how are you?
What's up, man? I'm good. Speed round. We got Raven promo. We got Harlan Heat versus Vicious Delicious Barbarian versus Mortis Bischoff. Then we got Gene interviews Larry Nanig, Steven Richards versus Sardi Riggs. Gene interviews Jared and Eddie Guerrero. NWO vignette. Jared and Eddie versus Mongo and Milwaukee Outsiders. Stiggs and Flair. Me and Gene interviews JJ Dillon and Nick Patrick. LaParca versus Ultimate Dragon. Hennig versus Giant. On the road with Lee Marshall. Gene interviews JJ Dillon. DDP and Luger versus the Outsiders. And we're done. Let's talk about Raw.
August 18th, Atlantic City Convention Center. Anyways, joking aside, let's talk about Nitro. Let's see if it's any good. I don't know. It's probably not. I got to tell you, I watched these things. I swear to God, I watched this on Friday.
Yeah.
That was yesterday for us recording. I can't remember if it's good. We'll see. It's probably not. We start with Raven. I'm already over Raven.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of those, he's doing the weird thing. He's talking about like, woe is me, Raven.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this? What do you think is quote the Raven vignettes?
So this is very long.
It is.
Okay. I'll explain what I think about it in kind of one sentence.
Okay.
But I'm gonna explain what he says. Basically, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. What he's basically saying is that being an outsider in society creates trauma and pain, and it's just a very long-winded way of saying it. It's certainly his best promo yet on WCW, but I struggle to see him as anything but a lesser mankind. I'm giving this a C.
Maybe you wrote this down. I can't remember off the top of my head. Is this the one where he's in the room, like
in the studio?
like
yeah.
No,
like this is the one. This is the one where he's in the studio.
Okay. They're all bad. But I will say on the children's bedroom one, I was like, that seems like a pretty nice bedroom for apparently how horrible he was treated. I don't know. It seems like he had means. Anyways, we got the Nitro girls. Because that's a weird transition to go from one of these Raven vignettes to the Nitro girls. But yeah, Nitro girls, Tony, Larry, Mike, Tenay. And we got the Harlem Heat versus Vicious and Delicious. Didn't we just get this match?
I think we did.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is. We just talked about it. I don't remember. But anyways, this is a mostly simple and fine tag team match. Honestly, this week's Nitro is already off to a far better start than last week's. Unfortunately, we get a Vincent interference resulting in a DQ, but Booker does fight them all off. So we're starting to establish him as a threat, which I do like. Giving it a B.
Bro, you're working so fast on this because you enjoy it so much. So I'm trying to figure out if we had this match at the pay-per-view. God, why do they keep doing that? Why pay for the pay-per-view? You get the match a week later. It's nuts. But you should still subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes.
Even though you get the matches a week later on the
because you get more from us than you do from WCW.
I scream louder on those than I do on these, for the record, which is probably some people are like, I don't want to hear that. But yeah, which that leads us into, because we got another quite a few matches, so this is probably another one where we just don't really do stories. We go straight into Barbarian and Mortis because That's a thing. That's a rivalry we got going. It's like 2:30. Tell me about it, Joseph.
Barbarian wins pretty easily, and then Wrath attacks him, and Meng locks in the death grip on Wrath. Mortis tries to fight off Meng, but he refuses to let go. So this is a rivalry, but Barbarian and Meng keep beating them. So what? Why? Gets a D.
Eric Bischoff comes down, tells us to join them for Clash. Are we doing Clash of Champions? I guess we have to, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to somehow. I don't know. To be fair, it's the very last Clash of Champions, but
So
also
I feel like we got it through it.
Yeah, but also I kind of fucking hate
Yeah,
it. We'll figure it out.
In 2 weeks, Clash of Champions. Eric wants us to join them. Apparently, they're gonna have a NWO party or something. And Larry Zbyszko don't like Eric, and I can't blame him. Joseph, tell me about this.
He also mentions that the Giant violated his restraining order last week. He tells JJ Dillon that they want their own show now. The payoff for this will be so bad, and I can't wait to talk about it. I gave this a D.
Yeah. You didn't mention, though, that Eric's now got a restraining order on Larry Zbyszko, too. How could you miss that important detail that I don't think we ever discuss again? Well, all right. Then we got Mean Gene with Ric Flair and Curt Hennig, who is definitely not in the NWO. This is another one of our Curt Hennig is totally not in the NWO segments. Hennig again tells us that he is a free agent. He is not a horseman. Okay, cool. So what are you then, Kurt? He's just gonna wrestle with Flair at Clash because he said he would. I guess that's pretty solid of him to do, keep his word. And then Hennig says he's gonna beat up the Giant.
Yeah.
And what is this?
I don't know. But then Flair says he will ride Conan hard later tonight. Kinky. Gets a D.
Ride him hard and put him away wet. God bless you, Rick. That takes us to Stevie Richards versus Scotty Riggs for about 5 minutes. Tell me about Stevie Richards of The Flock versus Scotty Riggs of Not Yet in The Flock.
Well, the first thing is this is the in-ring debut of Stevie Richards. Do the thing, Scott!
I kind of forgot so much.
Richards, I feel, is one of the more underrated wrestlers I have ever seen. His takes today on his YouTube channel are about 50-50 with me. Some I agree with, some I don't. For some reason, he's become controversial because he's got an opinion. I think that's kind of stupid and weird. Like some of them I agree with, and some of them I'm like, no, I don't think you're right. That's okay. Anyways, moving on. Raven comes to the ring after Stevie wins with the Stevie kick, and he hits a DDT on Stevie. They apparently will wrestle each other on Thursday at Clash of the Champions. Clash of the Champions featuring 2 non-champions. Cool. Get to see from me.
Yay! After that, we got Mean Gene with Jeff Jarrett and Eddie Guerrero and Deborah. And Deborah says she's going to manage a champion. And Alex Wright shows up and says, how about me? And she says, no, because you don't got a title. And Alex says, I'll get a title. And this leads to a dumb angle.
Yep.
Tell me about it, Joseph. What do you think?
You said everything. I gave it a D.
Yay! And then we get an announcement from the New World Order.
Yeah.
They're having a birthday party.
Yes.
Is this the anniversary of the NWO?
I guess this would be 8/18. Is that when Bash at the Beach 96 happened?
Maybe. I'm gonna Google machine it right quick, Joseph. Why don't you tell me about this
Bash at the
segment?
Beach? Isn't that in June, July, somewhere around there? Like, I don't know. This wouldn't be the 1-year anniversary unless it was Bash at the Beach. Yeah, they celebrate their own birthday. I gave this a D. It's not entertaining. It's dumb. It's, again, like a lot of the NWO stuff, it would be fine if they weren't just always on top with no end in sight. So, yeah.
July 7th, 1996. So happy birthday, NWO.
This is not their birthday then. Cool. Got it.
Yeah. Is it another Hogan's birthday? Because, I mean, we just had Hogan's birthday. Is this again for Hogan's birthday?
They specifically say NWO's birthday.
Well,
so
Hogan is the NWO.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hogan is. I'm going to leave it there.
Wow.
I'll leave it there.
Probably for the best, because
Yeah.
you'll sue us from beyond the grave the way you're going. Jeff Jarrett and Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit and Steve McMichael. Again, I feel like we've already had this match. Tell me.
Yeah. Mongo, who, by the way, was definitely concussed last week. This is an intense matchup, and the crowd is very into it. Mongo eventually hits Jarrett with his own U.S. title, and the Horsemen win. Honestly, I like this match. I'm giving this one a B. It's kind of sad how bad that Nitro is when this is the match that I'm like, yeah, okay.
Hell of a match. I love it, I guess. Nitro girls! Love it. They're having Nitro parties. I think this might be the first time. Do we talk about this? Where
they've talked about, so they've had like little moments where they'll go, hey, we want to film your Nitro parties. We want you to send those in. So they've been talking about it for a couple weeks. Like, hey, start sending those in. And that's the worst thing that WCW has ever done, because it means that we're going to stop having Nitro parties with our boy Lee Marshall.
It is true. Yeah, they're again telling us to send in videotapes of your Nitro party. And apparently they're going to select someone. They're going to select one of the Nitro parties that they feature to get a visit from the Nitro girls. So that sounds very exciting. I after seeing some of these Nitro parties, I have great concern for the Nitro girls. So best of luck to everybody involved. Hour number 2. We get the segment. Well, we don't get it yet, but we get a recap of last week where Sting ripped up J.J. Dillon's contract. J.J. Dillon wants Sting to wrestle, and Sting wants to wrestle, but he wants to wrestle someone specific that J.J. just can't seem to figure out who, even though the crowd chanted Hogan last week and Sting pointed to them. We'll see more about that tonight.
Yeah.
But before we get that, the Outsiders are here, and they've got some stuff to say, don't they, Joseph?
They definitely talk. They talk themselves up, but they say nothing. It drives no storylines. It is literally for the sake of them having an appearance and saying stuff. It gets a D. And the Outsiders, I usually like listening to their promos. This is useless.
Yeah, they're out here to tell us that they've got a match tonight against 2 jabronis, which is DDP and Lex Luger. So there you have it. And they're in the Nitro girls. They're dancing. Ric Flair versus Six, because I know we got this one at the pay-per-view. 5 minutes, 40 seconds. What the hell?
Also, Flair said earlier he was going to go against Conan later in the night, and instead it's Six. I don't know why, but that's what happened. This is honestly a good match, but then it's ruined by the obvious NWO interference. Hennig runs in for the save, but doesn't hit a single person, which commentary definitely points out, because he's definitely not in the NWO, and this storyline is definitely working. Good job. Gets D for me.
Okay. And then we have another real twist in the saga of Nick Patrick.
Yes.
Where Mean Gene's got J.J. Dillon and Nick Patrick, and J.J. tells us that he's been watching the Road Wild footage all week. It's apparently just been back and to the left, back and to the left, back and to the left, which is an obscure reference to a movie about the Kennedy assassination by Oliver Stone. I can't remember. What was that movie called?
Is it JFK?
I don't remember. That's the only part I remember. It is, I think. Wow. You're good, man. I think it is JFK. That's the only part of that movie I remember because it's not that good. Anyways, people like it, though. So whatever. Write us if you like it. I want to know. But Nick Patrick's in the NWO, right? Oh, J.J. Dillon says, no, he's off probation. It's fine.
Yeah.
Tell Joseph, what do you make of this one?
J.J. Dillon's supposed to make a decision on Nick Patrick, but he closes the matter. Why did this even need to happen? I know why. They need you to believe that Nick Patrick is shady again for the worst decision in WCW history in a few months. Anyways, Nick Patrick comes out and he says, why did this need to happen? Because even Nick Patrick realizes how stupid this storyline is. But then he brings up Randy Anderson and says he cost Lex the title, which is technically true, but also not the storyline I want on TV. Anderson then comes out and he confronts Patrick. Yep. Why is this happening? J.J. Dillon says this interview is over. This is planting the seeds for something that happens at Starrcade. It's stupid, both the decision at Starrcade and this. Also, this is the second time we've done this exact storyline with these exact two refs. In 2 years, it gets an F. It's horrible.
And again, it's like, who is this for? Because how dumb do they think their audience is? Because Randy Anderson comes out and goes like, this is bull. Dude is clearly in the NWO. And J.J. Dillon says, nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. But what I do get is watching La Parka and Ultimo Dragon in a match because I like both them boys. So tell me about Ultimo Dragon versus La Parka for the WCW World Television Championship, which I clocked at like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Ultimo gets the Dragon sleeper, but Ono distracts the ref. Ono kicks Dragon, but misses and hits La Parka instead. Then Dragon locks in the Dragon sleeper again, and Dragon then kicks Ono after the match, after getting the win. It's a very fun, simple match. Like you said, we like both these guys. Gets a B.
There you go. There you go. That brings us to our next match.
Yep.
And I was, as you were talking about your the Ultimo Dragon La Parka match, which is genuinely a good match. They're both fun guys to watch. It was a good match. I was reading ahead, as I like to do, about my notes, so I know what's coming to not be completely caught off guard if like that ever happens. I'm sharp as a whip, you know.
Absolutely.
And we got a Curt Hennig versus Giant match. And it's really stupid. 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Tell me about this ridiculous storyline here, Joseph. Tell me about it.
Commentary starts this match by questioning again Curt Hennig's allegiance. During this match, Bischoff comes out shouting 50 feet, 50 feet. And the idea here is that he's saying, you're within 50 feet of me to the Giant, so you have to leave. You're going to get arrested. Now, Doug Dillinger, who is head of security at WCW and does just a horrible job as head of security.
Yes.
As like weekly a fan tries to beat up somebody.
Not great.
He says he will restrain him when Giant violates the order, not when Bischoff tries to force it, which is actually objectively fair. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You can use restraining orders in an offense and you can get arrested for it. So Giant comes after Bischoff, which now breaks the restraining order. And then Zbyszko helps Giant corner Bischoff, and then Giant gets counted out, and Bischoff tries to flee through the fans, but Giant grabs Bischoff, and then when they have him, we go to commercial and we don't see what happened. What is going on? This gets a D.
The strange thing is that I kind of like, I mean, I don't want this to happen, but I kind of like gimmick of he's got a restraining order on Giant and he's got a restraining order on Zbyszko, and he's now stuck between them. And he's been told that if he violates the restraining order, they can do whatever they want to him. So he can't go either way, right? Like he's trapped between them. And I kind of like that from a storyline. Like, I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But no, I don't like any of this though, because they're not doing anything well.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And then when we're supposed to have like, okay, here's the next thing, we just cut to commercial. So who cares?
What I do care about.
That whole thing led up to literally nothing. The payoff was nothing.
I'll tell you what the payoff is. You want to know what the payoff is?
What's that?
It's the 1-800 Road Report with Lee Marshall. What a payoff. It's the only payoff we want. He's in Columbia, South Carolina, and he's got a lot to tell us about zoos and butterfly collections and maybe some weasels, Joseph. Am I right?
Oh, we get a return to form from Lee Marshall.
Yes, we do.
He says their party started with a cruise along Lake Murray on the Southern Patriot. He says, when you get to Columbia, go to Riverbank Zoo. They have thousands and thousands of butterflies. It's an attraction they call Jewels of the Sky. They did an attraction called Weasels of Dixie, but no one cared. And that gets an A+. It's what we want to see from Lee Marshall. That's our 1-800 Road Report.
I loved it. That was fantastic. Thank you. I am so high on the night right now. Nothing could bring me down. Mean Gene with JJ Dillon, and he still really doesn't seem to understand that Sting wants to wrestle Hulk Hogan, even though you had a phenomenal organic moment last week. The audience chanting Hogan, and Sting points to the crowd. Seems kind of clear.
Yes.
But not to JJ Dillon, who did not have his hearing aid in that day. So we had to come back and do it again. I'm giving this a better explanation than they do. Tell me about it, Joseph.
So JJ Dillon laments about not getting a deal done with Sting. He says he has no new contract offer and his patience is wearing thin because he doesn't know what Sting wants. And he wants Sting to tell us what he wants. Sting has to do the job of telling JJ, which he absolutely didn't do last week when he pointed to the crowd who was chanting Hogan. Sting then comes through that same crowd, well, a different one because it's a different place. Sting grabs Dillon, literally grabs JJ Dillon and points to multiple signs that say, JJ, Sting wants Hogan. And all of these are clearly plants because the signs are perfect. They're all immaculate. Then JJ still doesn't know what Sting wants. And is like, you gotta tell me, Sting. So Sting goes to one of the fans, grabs this sign, comes into the ring and shows it to JJ, who still doesn't fucking know. It is the dumbest thing I have ever seen on a wrestling television program. It is weeks of building up something you had last week, and we're going to spend more weeks of JJ Dillon trying to figure this shit out. It is fucking awful. It gets an F. How you doing?
Yeah, I don't know what more I can say. I feel like you summed it up pretty well there. I think the craziest part about it is like Sting is like, there are posters that say like Sting wants Hulk Hogan in the main event at Starrcade 1997. Book it, JJ Dillon. And Sting's like holding those in his face and just, what do you want, Sting? I can't tell. Speak, boy, speak. It's like Sting's Lassie or something. Farmer John stuck in a well, but they understand Lassie better than they understand
That's
Sting.
true.
So I guess I can't make that comparison. They understand what Lassie's saying. Wow. It is so bad. They caught lightning in a bottle last week. They're trying to do it again. They should have just accepted they had an amazing moment last week and used it.
Yes.
They could have just they could have deleted this whole segment, shown the video from last week. They could have just replayed the video from last week and then gone to JJ Dillon and said, I've got a contract here for Sting at Starrcade. Done.
Or if you wanted to draw it out, if you absolutely were like, look, we have to draw this out because we need to spend some time doing some other things. Fine. All you had to do was have JJ Dillon come out, say, Sting, I've heard you, but I cannot force Hogan to face you based off of whatever legal mumbo jumbo. I will work as hard as I can to make this happen, but I'm not sure I have the power. And then you could spend fucking weeks of Sting antagonizing Hogan and forcing Hogan to be like, I want him now.
Yeah. I love it. Let's book it. Instead, though, we get more paid announcements by the NWO.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sick shirt. It's a pretty cool shirt. I'm not gonna lie. Buy it. And then there's another segment of their birthday party that we're not quite sure what it's for.
Right.
They have they're spraying silly string on JJ Dillon because apparently he's their arch nemesis, even though he has absolutely no authority to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you want to say nothing more about these. Shall I move on, or do you want to yell it about this?
No, I'm good. I'd like to yell as little as possible, and we've got one more segment.
Okay, well, you're saving your yelling for this segment. I appreciate it. We've got our main event. Wait, we got a main event? Am I right? Did we skip the Giant? Did we talk about the Giant, or have I just blacked out?
No,
we talked about Giant already.
Yeah, we're at the main event.
I am already blacking out about this night. We got our main event, which is the Outsiders versus those jabronis, Diamond Dallas Page and Lex Luger. This one goes almost 14 minutes. I'm sure it will not end like everything ends with the NWO. Tell me, Joseph.
A fun and clearly longest match of the night ends when the NWO interferes and we get a large brawl again. Give it a D. Okay. This is how we end the show, like every week. I am a broken and defeated man.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it ends. We get the pull apart. Giant and Flair come out to help. It's a brawl, and we're done. Raw. Atlantic City Convention Center, August 18th, 1997. And it's exciting. We got Vince, we got Jim, we got Jerry, and we've got the ravishing Rick Rude, who has made his triumphant return to WWF. He's working with Shawn. I feel like they're a little ambiguous about it right now, but he's going to tell us, right? Tell me, Joseph. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah. So, like you said, Vin Man brings out Rick Rude, whose theme music plays, which works for the 80s version of the character, but not at all for this version of the character.
Yes.
He even hits his old gimmick catchphrases, sweat hogs, all that. Again, it just doesn't work for this version. The crowd chants, "You sold out." Rude describes himself as an insurance salesman, and now this gimmick is too on the nose. He literally says, like a good neighbor, Rick Rude is always there. He mentions "in good hands." I don't like this. This is a pretty rare misstep right now for WWF. Like, this is a really bad presentation. It's just too obvious, and it's very gimmicky, right? Oh, I'm an insurance salesman. All right. I gave it a D.
It's like IRS all over again, but this is with insurance. It's kind of wild. Yeah, it's not good. The Ric Flair thing does not, or I'm Ric Flair. Rick Rude does not really work at all, and he will not be around that long because he goes somewhere else. and it's not good there either. But Owen Hart and the British Bulldog versus the Legion of Doom for 4 minutes and 57 seconds.
First, they have a little quick promo where Owen says they will destroy Legion of Doom tonight and at Ground Zero. We get told that HBK seems to be, during the match, we get told that HBK seems to be throwing a tantrum backstage to Commissioner Slaughter, but we haven't seen it yet. We will find out about it in a couple segments. The Godwins cheat and hit Animal with the slop bucket, and Owen picks up the win. The Godwins then attack Legion of Doom, and Owen and Bulldog fight the Godwins. This is to show that it's every team for themselves at Ground Zero. But I actually think this part of it is a misstep, and they should have just had the heels beat down Legion of Doom, and that's it. Like, we're fine tonight, but at the pay-per-view, we're not fine. I think that would have been more effective. That being said, though, that being said, though, I do think this is good, and I gave it a B, and we're finally going to get into some good wrestling program.
Oh, are we? What could possibly be up next to get you to say that? Shawn Michaels, ladies and gentlemen. The Heartbreak Kid, who's just a sexy boy. Sexy boy. And not your boy toy. Tell me about this, Joe. So tell me about Shawn, your boy, and his segment.
Right. Right before this, we get a real quick little, 2-snippet thing. Austin is at his home mad at whoever's interviewing him. We find out it's Jim Ross. That will come into play later on. That's a very long segment. We'll talk about that in length. We also see Mankind suggesting that he will either be Taker's best partner or the final nail in his coffin later tonight. Really cool little segment from Mankind. I'm giving that a B. Moving on to HBK, Vin Man asks HBK, who is backstage, why is Shawn so upset? Shawn is upset about being thrown to the lions, that he's blamed for everything. He hates that he is the face, or that he is facing Taker early with Mankind. And Hunter isn't even my partner. Why am I with him? You always do that, and you're going to get what's coming to you. This is not nearly as good as last week's, to be clear. It's still a little bit too clean. Like, they don't have the intensity in it. It does last too long, but it is very coherent. There's clearly no substance-induced anything in this. It's simply fine. I gave this one a C.
Yeah, I think the lead up to DX is too much of a slow burn. I think that I guess they were worried about making Shawn a heel too fast. So I think they're trying to kind of do it slow. But I feel like he should have just, after the debacle with the ref stuff and people hating him, like, just do it. I'm with Hunter now.
I think that it's fine to say, hey, me and Hunter aren't together and all that stuff. But I think you have to make that payoff tonight. Like, tonight has to be no, we're together kind of thing.
And it's not.
Well,
we don't get them officially.
That is.
Well, I mean,
that is
kind of. But we don't get them officially saying they're together until sometime in September, because we know Vince doesn't like clicks.
Yeah,
that line.
Yeah,
But, anyways, speaking of just great things, Brian Christopher is still here, and he's wrestling Flash Funk, who we do like, although not really cut out for Attitude Era WWF. 3 minutes, 42 seconds.
Sonny introduces the competitors, and Flash Funk's music hits, but Brian Christopher comes out because someone clearly messed up. Literally to the point where Sonny goes, introducing first Flash Funk. Oh, wait, I guess it's Brian Christopher. And it's actually kind of funny. Like, she works with it well, even though it's a flub. Christopher says in a pre-recorded segment that last time he lost, it was a fluke. He calls Funk a heavyweight. What? Okay. Funk, his point is, like, I can beat people who aren't just light heavyweights. I can also beat heavyweights, and Flash Funk is one of those, which he really isn't. Anyways, Funk says Christopher won't use Flash as a stepping stone. Very simple, decent little promo. Christopher then showboats, and it costs him when Jerry, his father, Jerry the King Lawler, convinces him not to do his diving leg drop when he's got it. Instead, he wants him to do his pile driver. And so he goes, okay. So while he's still on the top rope, Funk knocks him off the ropes and then Funk hits the 450 splash for the win. Honestly, kind of liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool, fun, inventive ending to the match. I gave this a B.
Yeah, I think there's kind of an interesting angle here, right? The overbearing father, and like he starts losing matches because Jerry's overbearing. Like, I think that's a good angle, but then they don't really. I don't feel like they really do a whole lot with this. This isn't a great angle. It's just really to get the Putskis versus the Lawlers and all that. But yeah, so there you go. I will say that Vince, I took a note where Vince said that Brian Christopher is taking the light heavyweight division by storm, and it's like, there's a light heavyweight division? That brings us to the Sultan versus Ken Shamrock, because they're still apparently doing that Sultan thing, and they need to stop. 3 minutes, 16 seconds.
My first note is, look at how they massacred my boy. Look, give me Fatu or give me Rikishi. I'm done with this version.
Yeah.
Shamrock wins easily with the ankle lock. It's a fine match. It gets a C.
Yeah, I mean, they don't job the Sultan out because it's a fair, it's a reasonably length match, but it's like, I feel like he's on the way out, right?
Yeah,
the character's on the way out because
it's a gentleman's job. Like you ain't gonna win this match. We all know you ain't gonna win this match, but we'll give you some time. Yeah.
Is that a term?
No,
gentleman's job.
I don't know.
I love that. We're gonna use it. We're using it on the pod. Trademark it. We're using it on the pod. Then the Nation rolls up, and they're gonna tell us the real reason. Again, why did you pay money to call the hotline? Because they're gonna tell us why.
Yeah,
Ahmed Johnson got kicked out of the Nation, and it's because he's trying to be white, which is not gonna sit well with Ahmed, who thinks everyone's racist. But what do you think about this, Joseph? What do you think about this?
So to tee this up, actually, they say that we're going to throw now to the interview with Jim Ross and Stone Cold that happened earlier today. And then Nation comes out and JR is like, what? I thought we were doing this, which I actually think like, that's actually really kind of cool. Like that kind of like, hey, we're alive, so anything can happen. And what was supposed to happen didn't happen. Like, I like that. It's a really cool little idea. Anyways, they want JR in the ring, not really to interview him, just to hold the mic for them, which I laughed about. Farouk says that Ahmed Johnson is a white man dying to get out of his black skin. I laughed. He calls him weak, like Savio and Crush were. He brings up Rocky Maivia, and honestly, from this point on, it becomes really good. He brings up Rocky Maivia, saying he tried to do everything the American way, kissing babies, shaking hands, but the crowd frowned on him. And this is actually all true. Rocky gets to talk and he says, I have 3 words: die, Rocky, die. This is the gratitude that he gets for his dedication. He says he worked so hard only to hear Rocky sucks. He says they aren't racist. The DOA is, but they aren't racist. He calls the fans jackasses.
Ahmed would disagree.
That's true. He calls the fans jackasses. The Nation will earn respect by any means necessary. In the back on bikes, we see DOA, specifically Crush, call the Nation of Domination the Nation of Constipation. I guess got him. He challenges them to meet them face to face and fist to fist in the parking lot. Nation heads out as we head to commercial. Rocky's not quite the Rock yet, but he is instantly miles ahead of where he was a few months ago. I'm not going to give this one an A, especially with the DOA stuff, but this is really solid. I'm giving it a B.
You missed my favorite line of the Farouk thing. It's insane. It's when he's talking about how Ahmed Johnson wants to be white, and it won't happen even if they, quote, sandblast him 20 times.
Yeah.
What? What? It was insane. I was like, I can't. What?
Yeah.
I laughed. I couldn't believe it. It was good, though. It's good. Yeah. Farouk and Rocky.
Yeah.
We like this Nation. It's good. But as you mentioned, we go to commercial as they're heading out for a parking lot street fight. But when we come back, we've got Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some words for Shawn Michaels because Shawn keeps getting him in trouble, Joseph.
Yes.
Tell me.
Hunter says he isn't afraid of Taker or Mankind, but says, McMahon, what are you doing? Shawn Michaels does the crime and I pay the time. My boy's shooting right now. You want a war with me? You've got one today. We break away to the mayhem in the parking lot as the Nation and DOA are fighting. The Los Boricuas then sneak by and steal DOA's bikes. And as much as I kind of hate this gang war thing, that made me laugh. I'm giving this whole thing a B.
This is like the second time they've stolen their bikes, and I kind of enjoy it because it's the stupid we want.
Yes.
So I enjoyed that. That takes us, though, to Brian Pillman versus Jesse James. You remember, Brian's got to be wearing the dress until he wins. So he's going up against Jesse James, Alabama Ding Dong. Tell me about Brian Pillman versus Jesse James for 1 minute and 47 seconds.
It's a very effective minute, I will say. Pillman is, like you said, still in a dress, and Jesse James shows us some charisma as he actually toys with Pillman's dress. We haven't really seen much from Jesse James because they don't know what to do with him. Goldust runs in and he hits Jesse James with an elbow to make James win on a DQ. So Pillman has to wear the dress another week. And when I say he hits him with an elbow, it is the most casual, nonchalant, slowest elbow in the world. It's just like he walks in and he just goes and just drops on him. And it's hilarious.
It's great.
Yes. Michael Cole asks Goldust what's going on. And Goldust says, Pillman looks so great. He just wants to see it one more week. Fantastic. Pillman grabs a mic and asks if Goldust thinks this is funny, which Goldust says, yeah. Pillman says, how about this? Give me one more match. And if you win, I'll leave the WWF forever. But if Pillman wins, then he gets Marlena as his personal assistant for 30 days, 24 hours a day. Goldust says he's not out of his mind. He's not doing that. And then Pillman taunts him, calling Marlena Terry, her actual name, and says that Dakota will always carry a piece of him because he's her real dad. Goldust charges him, and then Marlena says they will take the challenge, and Goldust is confused. This is Brian Pillman's last ever feud, and there are some bright spots to it, but it's very uncomfortable from this point on. As we
people who don't remember,
people
who don't remember, Dakota is their real life daughter. She's young, single digits, 8, 9. You know,
no, she's like 3, 4,
maybe.
Dude. Yeah, no, she's not even
3, 4.
Yeah, she's like barely able to like talk. Like she's really young.
This gets uncomfortable.
Yes.
Tell me more, Joseph.
As we head to commercial, we real quickly see Vader, who says the colors of the Patriot are red, white, and blue, but after tonight, they'll be black and blue. Real simple and great line from Vader. I gave this whole segment a B. This whole thing with Jesse James, Rob Pillman, it's mostly very good. It gets uncomfortable from here on out, and we're going to see some peaks and valleys on this stuff. Some weeks where we're like, hey, this actually works really well, and some weeks where we're just like, dear God, who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah, and the thing too is Marlena is so good in this storyline.
Yes.
Terry plays it so well, but the whole thing is just really uncomfortable because it's gross. But that's kind of the point, right? You're supposed to hate Brian Pillman. He's a gross, awful heel. Let's talk about, though, someone who's not awful, who's America's champion, who eats his vegetables and says his prayers. I'm, of course, talking about the Patriot versus Vader for 4 minutes and 55 seconds.
Bret Hart observes this match. Patriot counters a Vader bomb and hits the worst DDT I've ever seen. Not really criticizing Patriot, it just wasn't good. He eventually hits the full Nelson Slam, which is incredibly impressive to do that on Vader for the win. Bret walks down to the ring and Vader attacks the Patriot from behind because Vader don't like losing. Vader beats him up as Bret watches, and Vader is going for the Vader bomb again. But when this happens, Bret Hart drapes the Canadian flag over Patriot. And Vader stops and looks at him and says, "These colors don't run, brother." And he drops down and starts to fight Bret Hart, which I love. And then the Hart Foundation attack Patriot and Vader, but the two men fight them off. This is a lot of like, wait, which way is this going the whole time? And I kind of enjoy it. It gets a B from me.
I don't think they really do anything with it, though.
Correct.
Like, if this was the start of like Patriot and Vader going at the Hart Foundation, could be fun.
Yeah.
But it isn't. Yeah. Then we go to Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's telling us about his neck injury and that he will totally be at ground zero, no matter what.
Yeah.
He's not. But what did you think of this, Joseph?
Okay. This is incredibly long, and I'll try to get through it as quick as possible. First, we get a vignette leading into this about Austin's perseverance and how it's not like anybody else, blah, blah, blah. And then we get the sit-down interview, and Ross, before he throws to it, tells us there's colorful language in the interview. Ross then says in the interviews, "Thank you for your time." And Austin says, "You're welcome for the time, but if you're here to ask a bunch of questions, you might as well start asking them. Otherwise, I'll throw your ass out the window." And to cover the hotel room, this ain't a hotel room I would stay at. You know, when I got hurt at SummerSlam and I got dumped on my head, no one called me and said, "Hey, Steve, you okay?" No one even sent a card or nothing like that. Not that I would have expected it, but maybe just call to see what the hell's going on with the hottest damn wrestler in the world, but I got nothing. So the WWF sees fit to put me in a room like this with all this fruit and trash like this. You want a pear? You want a banana? You want an apple or something? Here, make yourself at home, man. And he's literally throwing the fruit at Jim Ross. It's hilarious. If you got questions, go ahead and ask them because I'm getting a little tired of you. So JR decides to be succinct, and he says he wants Austin to address three things. 1, SummerSlam and his paralysis. 2, what the doctors have told him. And 3, what Austin perceives his future to be in the WWF. So Austin says, well, let's start with SummerSlam. The bottom line is I'm Intercontinental Champion, right? Well, that's that. But aside from that, close to the end of the match, when Owen Hart dumped me on my head, you figure I weigh 245, 250, bam, you get planted in the mat, shit happens. Now, it's important to note, we get a beep here. We also got a beep at ass prior to this. He's going to start saying piss, like I'm pissed off, and we get beeps. At some point during this, they get so tired of beeping him out, they just let it go. And it's hilarious. Anyways, and for basically 50 seconds there, I couldn't move my arms and my legs, and I didn't know if I ever would move again. It's pretty damn scary, so I'm through with that. I've watched that on tape 30 or 40 times, and it still sucks every time I see it. But I'm over it, and I'm moving around, and I'm happy about that. But Owen Hart has got hell to pay. You get dumped on your head, you get put in a position that I was put in, it ain't worth a damn. And I'm just a little bit pissed off. I'm not a little bit pissed off, I'm a whole lot pissed off. But you know what they say, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. This is where they stop bleeping. Owen Hart's got hell to pay when I come back. You say you got another question? Well, what's the other question? Ross reminds him about the doctors. Austin continues, I've seen a couple doctors and one guy said maybe you should do something else. Well, Steve Austin don't do anything else. What I do is wrestle, and I'm the best wrestler in the world, and can't nobody tell me different. So I'm supposed to see the top spine guy in the country tomorrow here in Philadelphia and see what he has to say. It doesn't really matter what he has to say. The end result is the decision's mine. He can sit there and say, don't do this, try not to do this, whatever. But the bottom line is I'm the one who makes the decisions. So I'll sit there, rethink things, and go from there. Regardless of what he says, Owen Hart's got hell to pay. And I love this recurring theme. I'm going to keep talking about this, but Owen, I'm coming for you. And we'll get a kind of a crescendo to that. When you do what he did to me, if it's my last step in life, you can damn well bet he's going to get the shit kicked out of him one way or another. That did not get bleeped. And that's it. I don't know when, where, how, or what, but it's going to happen. As far as my future goes, hell, I'll listen to what the doctor says, but I'm going to do what I want the future for Steve Austin is, as far as I'm concerned, to put on his black trunks and black boots and show up. I'm going to take a few days off. I'll probably take a few weeks off. You sit at the house and watch film of you getting paralyzed for 50 seconds, 30 to 40 times. You get a little depressed. So I drank a few cases of beer. I'll tell you exactly what I did. What I did was I ride around my four-wheeler, drinking a few beers, sit here and think about it. But I'm going to go see the doctor and see what he has to say. But as far as I'm concerned, the only way I can see my future is to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, to continue on right to the top of WWF, just like I did since I've been here. All the damn bureaucratic red tape bullshit I've been through, it's taken me 8 years to get to where I am right now. If you think for one split second a pile driver is going to stop me, it ain't going to happen. Did it slow me down? Damn right, but it ain't going to happen. At ground zero, sub-zero, whatever you want to call it in Louisville, I'll be there. Whether it's to hand the belt over, if I decide it's time to hang it up, I'll do that. I don't think that's what's going to happen when we get around ground zero. You'll see Stone Cold in black pair of trunks and a black pair of boots. I'll be out there whipping somebody's ass. I don't know what kind of match it is. You got 4 tag teams or some kind of shit like that, right? Okay, well, I'll be there. What gets me is Steve Austin is a new level now, because if I was pissed off before, I'm a lot more pissed off now. That makes me even more dangerous, not a liability, and that's the bottom line. You got anything else you want to say? And JR goes, no, sir. And he says, then get the hell out. Austin is great here because on the one hand, he is being the Austin we kept seeing for the last few months and we've come to love. On the other hand, and to me more importantly, he's really layering this promo with speaking from the heart. He's playing tough, but you can see how emotionally hurt he is and scared about his future. He's not saying that at any point, but you can see it. It's fantastic, and it gets an A+ from me.
Yeah, because at this point, he really doesn't know
right
what his recovery time looks like. It turns out that it's not as bad as they thought, and he's comes back surprisingly quickly. Honestly, probably too quickly, but he comes back pretty fast. But there are moments in there where, we know kind of the background story about all this, that he's definitely shooting, where he talks about how like no one called to, check in on him or send cards or anything like that. I think that's kind of a shot at Owen, right? Because Owen kind of notoriously didn't acknowledge it. And, Austin says in his book that it kind of made him look at Owen that he'd always liked Owen. Yeah. I thought Owen was a good guy, and it really kind of made him think about Owen a little different after that. And so, I think there's a lot in there that's just great, keeping the story going. It makes me still interested in the story. Like, he did a great job of selling the story. I'm still in it. But also the reality of we kind of don't know if we're ever going to see him again. Yeah. And like I said, he says he's going to be at ground zero. He's not at ground zero. Right. Because he's not cleared to wrestle. So this could, if hindsight's 2020, so we know this isn't the end for him, but it could be. Right. At this moment in time, it could be as far as we know. Yeah. And one of the great things here is part of this will be the template for if you have someone that's super, super hot and you want to keep that momentum going, Stone Cold's kind of the template for that, because his mic doesn't stop. So he will spend the next so many weeks and months utilizing that to drive forward storylines and hype about his return. So if you decide you don't want them to be gone, this is how you do it. There is a great option with the, shelve him and have him come back for the big pop, but this is a really good way of keeping him active. I don't know what you could possibly be alluding to about storylines, about wrestlers who go away and come back, and it's long, and how you keep it interesting after a long period of time. I don't know what other angle that possibly is relevant too.
I actually don't know what you're trying to reference right now.
Sting.
Oh, no.
Sting. What we
No,
saw in the other program.
That's a whole different problem.
Well, let's talk about the main event then, because we don't
Gotcha.
need to get into that because we're almost at time.
Yeah.
We've got still 4 months to talk about the Sting thing.
Yeah.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker and Mankind. This is a hot card. This is a hot main event here. 12 minutes, 18 seconds. Tell me.
Not quite D-Generation X, but still great. This is a fun match from all four men. And really, we're seeing all these people who are going to drive forward the Attitude Era as far as talent goes, which is fantastic. Rick Rude gets involved and Taker starts backing him down when Shawn Michaels clobbers Taker with a gruesome chair shot and busts him open. It is thunderous. The whole chair bends. Taker eventually sits up and Shawn and Hunter run away. JR describes the chair shot as assault when the show closes, and it's fantastic. This match gets an A from me, and I could not be more excited about what's going on with Hunter and Shawn and Taker and all these shenanigans going on.
This makes me wonder, after all you've said here, who wins this week from you? I can't possibly tell.
Well, seeing as we're both wearing the current at this time best talker in wrestling as our shirts, I think I'm going to give it to Raw.
Well, I'm gonna think about this. I will say that kind of minus the main event on Raw, which is a banger. Overall, I didn't feel like it was the best night we've seen of Raw. It's okay. But so that, that kind of is like, well, how is WCW? It's better.
Yes.
But to me, the real kind of dividing line here is that you had the Stone Cold segment and the Sting segment. They're both segments to further your most important storyline. Right? Stone Cold segment. Stone Cold is the most important thing going on right now over on WWF, and Sting is the most important thing happening over on WCW. Stone Cold was fantastic.
Yeah.
Not only was it great, it was also like from the heart. Like,
yeah,
he did a great job. The Sting promo is awful.
Yes.
It is so incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
And completely botched. And they had it. Yeah. They had it. And WCW can just not let a good thing go. Like, they have to find a way to mess it up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So while it pains me every week because I loved WCW, I gotta give it to Raw. It's just a better show.
Yeah.
Better storylines, better matches, even though they weren't great this week, but they were still better because they didn't end with messy finishes like everything on Nitro. It's Raw again. How is WCW still winning? Is it Sting?
It's got to be Sting.
He's great. I love Sting. But yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy that I'm done. That does it for us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, sending hateful emails that tell us we suck.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's has anyone done that? We got any mail?
We've had like comments on YouTube that are negative, but we've never had like someone actually email us. Everything we've gotten email wise has been really positive. Most of our comments, it's like we've had like 2 negative comments, to be clear. Most of our comments are like positive. We don't get a lot of comments, to be clear. We're not getting a crap ton, but most of them have been positive.
I think people understand this is just 2 dudes talking wrestling, and it's not meant to be some highbrow, well-done podcast. It's stupid.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We do stupid. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.